We'll get started here real soon, as I see some people still jumping in. A few minutes. Webinar, the first one of this new school year. I want to welcome all of you to well, we're at TAC, the Texas Advanced Computing Center. We're the ones who are hosting this application. It is a new cyber infrastructure that we are promoting, wanting you guys to use, and we are supporting the natural hazards community. So I want you all to welcome here and give you a little bit of background on what DesignSafe is about and what exactly it does, and then we'll jump in and have a tour of what the site looks like. So first off, so this is our vision for DesignSafe. It's a CI, it's a cyber infrastructure, it's cloud-based, that is going to be an integral and dynamic part of the research discovery workflow. What we really wanted this to do is we want this to be an integral tool that you will use, that you will come to, you'll load your data, you'll analyze your data, and then share your data and publish your data from within our site. What we're doing is we're giving you a lot of tools available on the infrastructure. There's tools to do data analysis. There's tools for you to develop your model. There's tools to do graphics work. And what we really want to do is be able to store your big data here and be able to analyze it and see what the story behind the data is. What is the data trying to tell us? And the idea is we want to support the end-to-end cycle. We want this to be someplace you come to develop your idea, to research your idea, to then build a model, build data, analyze data, share data, and of course that will spawn new ideas and new models, and therefore continue the work cycle. And our goal, of course, is to enhance, amplify, and link all the capabilities of NHERI, all the NHERI components into one area that you can come to. So what's our plan here? Well, the plan is we have simulation data, we have experimental data, we have reconnaissance data, and we want all that to be stored in what we are calling the data depot. From there, you can then load the data into the discovery workspace, the different applications that are available in the workspace, and then be able to do your analysis and visualization, and then save it back to the depot. And then from the depot, you should be able to curate and then publish your data as well. And then, of course, link from publications and data curations, be able to link back to the data depot to your published site. All right, so now that you have a little bit of background on what the DesignSafe is and what our plan is, we're going to do a little bit of a walkthrough, and then we're going to jump online and look at the site itself. All right. So the walkthrough, of course, getting started. First thing you need to do is when you land on DesignSafe, which is designsafe-ci.org, when you land on DesignSafe, there's a login and registration button off in the right-hand corner. Logging in or registering, you'll come to what we are at the TAC DesignSafe page. From there, you click login or click register. If you're registering, there's a little bit of a format you need to go through, or a formal form you have to fill out, agree to some terms and services, and then sign in. Anybody can log in or sign up for a DesignSafe account. When you do land on DesignSafe, the first thing you'll see is your dashboard. This will give you information about any recent jobs you have ran, how many available applications are there to you, and how much data is being stored on DesignSafe, how much data you're storing on DesignSafe. All right, so the first thing we're going to dig into is what some of the pieces of DesignSafe are. The first major component of DesignSafe is the data depot. This is a place where you're going to essentially, we are doing the full life cycle of the data process that I mentioned earlier. This is where you want to discover, publish, share, upload, and download your data. So the data depot is essentially, what basically it is a data repository. It looks and acts just like a file viewer would. All right, this is where you create a bunch of different folders, you store data inside those folders, you can share those folders out, you can move folders within one another. And this is essentially the reason we have chosen this to be kind of a file share is because we want this to be flexible. This allows you to create your data in whatever format you're comfortable with and be able to put your data in there and analyze and connect however you need. All right, everything goes into a place on the data depot called My Data. That is where your default data sits. It is important to know that your My Data is accessible to every component inside of the DesignSafe environment. This is your repository. We want you to be able to load in whatever files, whatever folders, scripts, experiments, data that you have, you can load and host on your My Data site. From there, if there's any need to share your data or share a folder or a file, then you can share it among the rest of the community. The other part is My Projects. My Projects is a collaboration folders is the best way to describe it. This is where users go that you're going to be collaborating together with, and you create a project folder. You then add your information to it, and everybody can then contribute to this data. And these projects they can grow. The data inside these projects can be curated, and then once the data is at a finished state or a finished state for this part of your project, you can then publish it. And then once it's published, that is essentially frozen in place, and then you can continue working and then publish new versions. Once the data is published, you get something called a DOI. This is essentially an ID that allows to link to document objects which are online or virtual, and then be able to connect through. They work just as citations do. The next thing inside of My Depot, or the Data Depot, is published data. All right, so once your data becomes published, it is now accessible to the general public. So any data sitting inside of the published data folder on the Data Depot, once it becomes published, is now available to the public, and it is not required to have a DesignSafe account to be able to use that data. All right, and then there's other bits and pieces of Data Depot that we'll go through in the actual demonstration walkthrough. But those are the three highlights: My Data, My Projects, and Published Data. The next big piece of DesignSafe is the Discovery Workspace. All right? The Discovery Workspace is where the applications that are going to be using that data are hosted. You'll see stuff like OpenSeas, AdSerp, OpenFilm, and there's also some commercial applications, for example, MATLAB. So the way it works is you'll see that there's an application tray. Within that application tray, you will have all the applications you require. You find the app you need, you select it, fill out some basic information like input files, any scripts you need to run, where the output files are going to go to, and then launch the app. Now, the way this works, and I should describe this to you, this is a cloud environment. This is essentially a portal. What you are seeing, what you are interacting with, is the web version, the web form of the portal. Behind the scenes, we have numerous resources, one of them being our supercomputer Stampede. And those resources are actually what is launching and running your application. You're filling in all the information, and then you're starting a job. So that job actually is getting put into a queue. Once your queue comes to the front of the line, essentially, that job will be launched. You'll get notified. The job will run. When the job completes running, you'll get another notification, and then you can go to your output directory and view your results. All right, launching an app. Like I said, you select the app you want. you fill out the form, and at the bottom of the form there's a run button. You click run. That submits your job to be ran. It doesn't run it immediately. It just submits the job, and you will get a notification when your job is submitted, when your job begins to run, and when your job completes. Now the big one is the archive, your output. So most of the applications that run have a default directory that your application will land in, where your results will land in. This default location is the archive directory within My Data. Going into the archive, you'll see a list of a folder of your job, the job name you gave it, and then all the data inside of it. Once again, this directory is part of My Data, and My Data is accessible everywhere in DesignSafe. All the applications are going to be able to access that archive. Okay, so let's go ahead and launch into a demonstration of DesignSafe. All right. So first off, we'll go to designsafe-ci.org. You'll land on the landing page. You'll see the landing page has has a lot of features to it. You have the research workbench. This is where the data depot, the workspace, the Recon Portal, and the user guides are located at. We also have the Learning Center. That's where you can keep in touch with what's going on around the DesignSafe community, education and training, what resources are available, information about our summer institutes and such. We also have access to the other NHERI facilities, the experimental facilities. You can look at the schedules, access to the Sim Center and the NCO. And then some information about the NHERI community itself. The news of the NHERI community, our Slack channel, which is very important. I do suggest all of you go to the Slack community and join in. The discussions range from everything going on as far as the natural hazards go. We have discussions about the recent hurricanes, about the earthquake in Mexico. We also have a training channel. We also have a Jupyter channel where you can ask questions about the different applications, and you have the expert advice from the users. And then, of course, where to get help. All right, this is very important. You can come here, submit a ticket. We have a little guide on getting started, and once again, access to the user guides. First place we're going to look at is we're going to go ahead and log in. Is that full size or not? All right, we're going to go and log in. I'm going to log in using our TAC resources. Anybody can log in here or assign an account. Go and log in as my user. And my password. Let's try that again. Oops, username. All right. So which account? All right, much better this time. All right, if anybody ever wants to communicate with me or share anything with me, my username is Charlie on DesignSafe. Okay, so once we're here, you land on your dashboard. This gives you some information about recent jobs, the number of applications available, and how much data you have stored. We have some quick links. The quick links will take you to the data depot, to the workspace, and to the Recon Portal and any training information. You can also go back to the main page by clicking on the DesignSafe logo itself. And then, of course, you have applications to all the application menus from before. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump right into the data depot. So when we come to the data depot, the first place we get to is My Data. Like I said, My Data is essentially the way you can view the data depot as, is an area where you can store your information. It's a file server in a sense. Everything's a file or a folder. You can basically go through here and view what information you have inside of your folders. You can select folders in, and then you can do basic file operations to them. You can rename it, you can move it, copy it, preview. You can also share it. So if you wish to share this with somebody inside the DesignSafe community, you can go here, click on Share. Look up the username you wish to share this with. So if I were to wish to share this with Tim Cockrell, I click find his name, select it, and give what type of permissions I wish for him to see. If this file already has permissions to it, you'll see a list of everybody who's available to view it on the top, and then you'll be able to revoke privileges that you need to. Once again, we're submitting a request via queue. So what we're doing is I'm selecting Tim, I'm giving him read-only access to this file, and once I hit Save Share Settings, it will then go ahead and queue a job up to share it with Tim. I'll get a notification when it's shared, he'll get a notification when it's available to him. So there's a notification that the permissions for the file have been updated, and then Tim should be able to view those files. You can also jump into different folders, and you can also share a folder, in particular with everybody. All right, the next thing we want to look at is My Projects. So My Projects, once again, is an area which you have essentially shared folders with a group of people that you're collaborating with. So once you set up a folder that you want to share with, you can click on that folder. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this Jupyter Notebooks for Fun. It shows you what the project ID is. This is actually very important, especially if you're going to be using Jupyter to do analysis on your data. There will be more training on Jupyter at a later time. I will go ahead and jump in and show you what's going on. But this is the project ID. These are the folders available to it. And you can edit the project. You can manage the team members. This will give you a list of everybody who's currently on the project. You can add other people. You can then give them different authorship privileges on what they can do. And then you can save the settings. This is essentially what we want you to be able to do your main collaboration with, is create a project, create folders, move your data into them, and then be able to share your data with the rest of your collaborators. If you're only going to be sharing data with a small number of people and it's not a formal project, you just want to be able to, somebody asks you, hey, can I check this file out that you wrote? You can go to Shared With Me, and then you'll get a list of all the files which are shared with you individually. Of course, if you want to share a file with somebody else, you can do that through the My Data feature. Next, to make this easier for you to load data into DesignSafe, one of the things that we've given you access to or connected to is your Box account. So you can go here and connect your Box account. So if you click box.com on the left and you haven't connected yet, you will come across this message, connect your Box account here. If you click on that, it will come up to an authorization screen, and then all you gotta do is click setupbox.com, and it'll go ahead and step you through the procedure for connecting your Box account to DesignSafe. This exact same feature is also available for Dropbox. So I can click on dropbox.com and go through here and connect my Dropbox account. Once again, the way these work is you can copy your folders into Dropbox, then come into DesignSafe and copy those folders out of Dropbox and into DesignSafe. So it is actually a two-step process. Finally, we have published data. And as I mentioned before, published data is data that is publicly available. So once your project becomes published, once you curate the data and publish your project, you can then make it publicly available so other people can then use that data for their research. Published data is searchable, so you can search whatever data you're looking for. It also gives you the documentation that you can then pull up and look at the folder, and you can then click on the view and view the metadata. So here's the project metadata. Tells you what the project information is, who the PIs are, what the organization is, the description. It gives you a list of all the experiments that were done on this project, and then gives you a link to the project information itself. And so you can click on that, it'll open up into a separate window and show you that particular experiment that we clicked on. Get out of there. All right, lastly, in the Data Depot, we have something called community data. So community data is information that you wish to share or would like to share with the rest of the DesignSafe community. If you wish to create a folder or have a file you wish to share, there is a README document at the very top. It's how to contribute to the community data. So this is, at least I like to look at it, this is kind of informal. This is I've created something, I have something that could be of importance to other people of the community, so I'm going to put it inside of the community data and share it with the rest of the community. We have some sample Jupyter Notebooks, for instance. These notebooks are available to look at. You can see we have a generic notebook here that uses GeoClaw, so you can view that and see how that's set up. We also have some folders, some files and data sets available from other PIs on the project. We have some reconnaissance data available. We have some reconnaissance resources available for the Mexico City earthquake, and information from the Sim Center. Like I said, these are available to the entire community. You do have to actually log into DesignSafe to be able to get to these resources, but they're open to the entire community. It's a way to give back. Is it? Oh, that's true. Actually, I'm sorry. I was just corrected. Community data is now public. So that was my mistake. Sorry about that. But community data is also publicly available. All right, so the last bit we want to look at now, so that basically wraps up the data depot, how you can bring projects in. I guess the last thing we want to look at is maybe how to import data in as well. What you do is you click on Add. You can this is where you would create a project. This is where you would create a folder. This is where you upload a single file or upload an entire folder set. So if I were to say, create a new folder, I can click on new folder here and give it a name. It's like upload demo and create the folder in. The folder is going to be immediately available for you to use, and as soon as we see it here, I should be able to access it. All right, so the folder's been created. It will create it and add it to the end of your list. So I'm going to click on upload data. I'm going to then click on add, and I'm going to say, all right, folder upload, and then I can click choose files. There's some generic documents here available, so I can go ahead and click on one of these folders or one of these files that are available for you to upload. I believe I can put some information in here. I can select file and then upload it in. When that upload happens, it will come into this folder. And once again, this is a job that's being queued up. As soon as these upload files are available, it will give you a notification that these files are now on. All right, now let's move on to the workspace. So the Discovery Workspace, essentially, this is where all your tools are located at. We have an application tray. The application tray is loading all the apps in. It shows you a list of all the applications available, what resource they're running on. So these run on Stampede 2. This particular runs on Lone Star, another one of our machines here. And basically what you do is you select the application you wish to use. So if I say I want to run a OpenSeas job, an SP single processor job, it will come up and give us a form that we fill out. We ask that you select an input directory, the name of the script within that directory you wish to run, how long the job is going to take. This is essentially an estimation as soon as the job, so we know when the job is going to get scheduled. A name for the job that's recognizable to you, so you can look through it and find it, and then where the output's going to be. All right. So to fill in this out information, you can go here, and I can say, oh, I want to pull in information from my data and be able to input where my directory is going to be. So if I were to say do the contra animate directory, I can be able to put that directly in, and I can drag that in there as I did. Or I can click select and select which directory it is I wish to use. There's also, you can run data against, you can run a job against public data. So I can click public data here. Find the folder that I'm looking for. Select that as my input. Oops. One more time, select that as my input. Give it the name of the TCL file, the TCL file that I wish to run, and then go ahead and run my job. So what I'm going to do here is just as a test data, we have some test data available. You can copy and paste these sample information here. So I'm going to go ahead and launch a job. So I'm going to launch this OpenSeas job, this free field analysis. I'm going to give it the name of the TCL file that I wish to run. So here's the script. Give it some details. I'm going to say this job is going to last for, say, run for half hour. Now, this does have to be in a specific format. It wants to be in hours, minutes, and seconds. If you do not put the information in correctly, instead of a checkbox, you get a little X, and so now you need to go through there and replace, see where your errors are. I'm going to give this a job name. I'm going to say day, OpenSeas, demo. And I'm going to go ahead and let it go to the default location when it runs. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Run. And this will submit the job. Once again, this submits the job, puts it in the queue, and as soon as the job begins running, I will get a notification back. So it says the job has been submitted successfully, tells me where the job is, and now I can monitor its progress in the job status. Right now the job is pending. Now if you notice, I just got an update. This is telling me that that job is pending in case I wasn't on the screen. So now I can go and do other things. Of course, now my job is staging inputs. So we're getting a constant update on what's going on. And meanwhile, I'm going to, it's been staged. And we soon should get a update telling me it's currently running. All right, so job is now being submitted from pending. It's queued up. And while that's running, I'm going to go ahead and take us to another step here. By the way, if you did notice, MATLAB is available for you to run here as well. For you to run MATLAB on your own, you need to actually fill out a ticket and give us your email address, and then we can authorize the license for you. All right. Meanwhile, I'm going to show you one more thing here. I'm going to go and get this launched and ready to go. The other thing we have available inside the tray, inside of our applications, is this application called Jupyter. We'll learn a lot more about Jupyter in the coming days, in the coming months, and in future webinars. I'm going to go ahead and log in and launch Jupyter while that job's going. So I already have a version running. It will come up to say, hey, launch my server. When you do this, there is a slight delay while your server is being prepared and then finally be launched. One thing I want to show you is here is the My Data. So anything you do inside of Jupyter, for those of you who already use Jupyter, they have to be done in the My Data directory. Now, as soon as this job is finished, it's still pending. I'm going to do a refresh here to see what the status is. So it still says queued. When the job is finished running, you will see that there is a directory called Archive, and you'll find your job as it ran inside the Archive directory. So here's a list of all the folders of jobs that I've ran in the past. So I can pick up any one of these jobs. I can look at the folders I have inside there and see what my output information is. And very soon here, as soon as my new job gets finished running, we should be able to see that. So here's some of the output that I got from that folder. And now, of course, we can take this data, we can plot it, we can graph it, we can query against it, we can even animate it if we wish to. And then we have all these tools available in the workspace that we can then use those files as input for. Okay, the last thing I kind of wanted to review a little bit is the Recon Portal. So the Recon Portal is one of the newer features of DesignSafe. And what this does is shows us reconnaissance data and how to get the reconnaissance data. For example, here's some information for Hurricane Harvey. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. You notice that it is pinpointed here on the map, which I'm going to go ahead and zoom in at. Trying to zoom in. There we go. Get my mouse straight. So we can pinpoint the location. You see that these are the available data sets that are for Harvey. So I can look at the reports and information. If I click on that, it takes me back to the location on DesignSafe where that's available at. If you notice, it's available in community data. So we can see what some of the these are all. I like to show you that these are. We can show the PDF file. Gives you the information on that. Should have a preview that comes up. So here's a preview of the report that was done. We can also. These are all images. I believe the images. We cannot do a complete preview here, but we can do that preview. Okay. We can do those previews inside of Jupyter. And Jupyter is also available to that community data. So if you go back to your home on Jupyter, you'll see that there is a folder called Community. This is where all the community data is, and from Jupyter, from within the Jupyter environment, you can do previews on images. All right, so we're going to go back to the Recon Portal and select some information and review. So what we see here is the type of natural hazard that occurred, where it happened at, and the information folder. Now, once again, because the entire point of DesignSafe is to be flexible, to allow you to use whatever ability or whatever file formats or data formats you are comfortable using, you'll see that a lot of this information has different sets. For example, Hurricane Harvey we saw came out to be information within DesignSafe to a specific file. But you can also link to other data sets. So here we have a link to the National Weather Service and their information for the hurricane. So it's not necessarily information within DesignSafe. We can also link to other accounts. This is an entire reason for this is because we want to be as flexible as possible. All right. Finally, I wanted to show you, using the Research Workbench, how to launch MATLAB. All right, we're waiting for the tray to load. Once the tray loads, there's actually two versions of MATLAB. There's MATLAB for large. That means, well, if you click on it, it'll tell you what we're looking for. This runs a MATLAB session on Stampede for large jobs. We also have the MATLAB that runs on a virtual machine for smaller jobs. That's the one I'm going to launch. We ask what the desktop resolution is, so we select it. Oh, is that from? Okay, so we're going to go and select MATLAB here. I'm going to give it a resolution, a job, a time. I'm also going to say 10 minutes. Job name. Oh, my job from the OpenSeas demo that I ran earlier is now running. So I just got the notification for that. demo. And where an output's going to go, and we go in and click Run. Now, MATLAB runs a little differently. OpenSeas, for example, runs as code. It takes input files, it takes a tickle file, and goes ahead and runs it. MATLAB runs what we call interactively. So what this is doing, this is creating a virtual machine on our cloud environment that's going to be launching and running MATLAB. This is going to launch in a separate window to give you an interactive session. So I just submitted the job, and we can see that this job is now submitted. See that my OpenSeas job is running. My MATLAB is staged, so it's going to be running, going to be available for me soon. And once it's available, it'll go ahead and say, hey, your job's ready to go into interactive mode. Click OK to continue. So it's being submitted. So my interactive session has started. Now what I want to do is connect to it. So I'm going to click Connect. And I think I just need to do a refresh here.
Danger of live demos.
No, my quota has been exceeded. Oh, well, that's not good for me. I've been doing too many demos, apparently. All right. Let's go ahead and launch it on Stampede, see if that works for us. I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and run that on my working directory. Give it a different resolution. I'll try this one more time. Give it another 10-minute job. Give it a name. Should I run that? So anyways, what happens is when you're running it, what we call a BNC Interactive BNC environment, what essentially happens is we will see a window pop up and it'll look just like your computer's desktop. From within that desktop, you can then run MATLAB as you normally would. And it does connect directly to your My Data, and that's where all your data will be stored at. So we'll see if I can get this to run for me on a large data set. So, yeah, this might, since we're running this on Stampede, it might go ahead and take a little bit to run. So we'll go ahead and continue on here. Okay, so this kind of was a brief tour on what DesignSafe is available. I notice we've been here for about 40 minutes. This is a brief tour on what DesignSafe has, what DesignSafe has made available to you as a user, and how you can navigate through DesignSafe to essentially enable your research. Once again, if you need any help at all, you can go to Help, you can fill out the information or fill out a ticket. Look at our Getting Started page. Getting Started gives you some basic information as we did today and some live video demos on registering, logging in, a quick tour of the Data Depot, quick tour of uploading files, of launching applications. We also have available our Slack channel. Slack is a great way of communicating with the rest of the DesignSafe community. All the webinar information is located there. You go to designsafe-ci.slack.com. You should have been given an invite. Accept that invitation. Go ahead and log in and be able to interact with the rest of the DesignSafe community. And go and try and log in. I don't think I remember my DesignSafe password because I have logged in all the time. There's also, what we suggest you do is also use the actual application. Because the DesignSafe application has a lot more information available to you. So I was able to log in. It has a lot more information available to you as far as getting notifications to your desktop, getting notifications on your phone. We have a general page. The general page is for any questions you might have, where information is located at. the most information we've been getting a lot of information or a lot of traffic on DesignSafe regarding Hurricane Harvey and Hurricane Irma. We have people, the reconnaissance teams are constantly loading new images, they're constantly loading new data, they're discussing what is now available, what surveys are being done, and photographs of some of the damage that has occurred. So this is a great place for you to go and become part of the community. And what we really want you to do with Slack is actually not just ask questions, but also answer questions. If you see somebody has a question regarding a tool that you've been using, feel free to answer the question. You are part of the community. You're giving back to, you're basically what makes DesignSafe interactive. Okay, with that, I want to show you, we do have a page, a channel for today's webinar. It's called DS_webinar and _today's date. Feel free to ask any questions in this area, and we will make ourselves available to answer. If you have any other questions, feel free to find a channel, or if no channel is available, feel free to create a channel. You can always private message me or any of the other people on the DesignSafe team. All right.
Show the direct messaging there.
So here's a direct message that just got sent to me from Tim Cockrell telling me that this is what the direct messages look like. So you can direct message, I can direct message him back. And reply back to them. And like I said, we can invite other people here. There's also some fun little bits that you can do. You can set up notifications. So this is my own space. Obviously, you can't send messages to yourself, but you can draft messages that you need to do later. I could do a/to-do. So to-do is kind of nice. It gives you a really great way of doing to-do lists. So I can say to-do, prepare for the next webinar. And it'll give me when to do that. I can assign that to other people if I wanted to. I can assign it to myself. I can give it a date. And continue on. And once it's done, it will go ahead and assign it to me, and I'll get a notification when that when that's available or when that comes up. And it's a great place to take notes. So a lot of times when I'm in a meeting, I will jump onto Slack and put reminders down so I know what to take notes on. You can also do searches. So I can go up to DesignSafe here, and I can do search for channels. So these are all the channels that are available to you. If you're looking for a particular topic, say OpenSeas, there's a channel created for OpenSeas specifically. So, oops. All right, maybe that's not what I want to do. Let's go back to channels. OpenSeas. I can type. Go ahead and preview that. And it'll take me to that channel. I can see what the conversations are. I can also search for particular topics. So I can search all of Slack for Jupyter, and it'll go and give me all the information that I find. And then, of course, I can go ahead and read more about that particular conversation just by clicking jump, and now it'll jump me to that particular conversation about Jupyter. Also, announcements come here. So anyways, this is a great place for you to interact, great place to stay in touch with the DesignSafe community, and a great place to ask questions or answer questions. All right. I hope this was informative. I hope you guys got some good information out of this and opens up more about how DesignSafe works.
Can you go to the back to the website?
Yes.
And go to My Projects and show. Or actually, go to Publish.
All right. Just go back to DesignSafe here. Why don't we just
go on and show a curated?
Yes.
Show Ellen's curated. So we had some questions about community data versus published. And so we'll go back to the website here and go to the Data Depot and go to Published. And so these are curated projects that have gone through the curation. Some of them are older projects that, if you're familiar with the old NEES program, NEES, all of those projects are in here. But the ones at the top, the most recent, go ahead and click on that one, has been curated through the DesignSafe curation service. And so you can go through here, and Charlie, do you want to just walk through here a little bit?
Sure. So what we're looking at here, this data has already been curated and has been published. So what we see here is we're looking at what the description of the current is, what the data files are. We can open up one of these folders and see where the files are. We can view the experiments that were done on it. And if you notice, what we have is we have the model configuration. We're showing the sensor. We're showing the events that were created on this particular sensor and what the reports are. So this is what a curated data experiment looks like. We can also go back to the project here. We can see what information is related to it. So, you know, this is what the model configuration is, the sensor again. I believe we can actually link to the model itself. Yes, we can. And then, of course, any type of data that we have in here. We have Ruby files which are available that you can download and view. We have the metadata that you could look at as well. We can look at the JPEGs of the experiments, the construction of the experiments. We should have these available too. So we can see what they look like, the images.
You're also doing this on the 27th, right?
Yeah, we're going to be doing an event, another webinar that is solely for data curation and the projects folder, and take you through a step-by-step guide on how to curate your data and what the final data curation looks like.
I think that's
next week. So it's coming up next week on that. So if you have further questions about that, feel free to ask us on the Slack channel, and also feel free to come to next week's webinar on Wednesday, I believe the 27th, and we will show you the entire creation process. And hopefully that will answer more of your questions. If you do wish to cite any of these documentation, you click the Cite button, and you can then put this into your documentation, and it's got the DOI setting. The DOI links back to this folder. All right. If there are any other questions, feel free to ask us on the DesignSafe Slack channel, or we'll probably keep this chat window open for another 10 minutes for other questions. And I will go to the chat window myself. I do appreciate everybody's time today. It's a beautiful Friday here in Austin, so hopefully it's a beautiful Friday where you guys are. And thank you very much. And I'll see you guys next time.